Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the In From Japan podcast. I don't have a slogan yet. um,
Um,
I'm Errol Moss, and with me, as always, is the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
yeah, that's me.
And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So first, what we've been playing. So again, I haven't been playing a lot of Japanese games
Mhm.
lately. I've been playing some max raids in Pokemon. Got that Gigantamax Colossal,
I mean, that counts.
uh, and Gigantamax. What was the other one? Oh, Flapple. We encountered a Labras too, but none of us caught it. Also, I wrote a an article about apricorns on Parallax Media, so you can go check that out. I'll probably put the link in the description. Uh, because they should really make specific balls for Dynamax and Gigantamax
Mm.
Pokemon since their catch rate seems to be a bit
Yeah.
lower. Um, so why not do that when you're adding the thing that makes Pokeballs? And then besides that, I went back to Bloodstained. Haven't really gotten that much further in it because that is not an easy game. But that's about it. What have you been playing?
I've been playing Final Fantasy 12 on the Switch. Uh,
Still? No, I'm just kidding.
well, it's a it's a 100-hour RPG, I guess. So, um, yeah, I've made about 12 hours of progress, and it's going well so far. I have most of my party, I guess, 6 people now. And I'm having fun with the license board and figuring out how to properly equip my characters and how to um, have a proper fight with enemies and yeah, trying to figure out how the game works, how the world works.
Huh.
Hmm.
Um. So, well, we knew that was going to be a little shorter this time, but last time we talked about a Ni No Kuni movie coming to Netflix, and it came on there just today, and we both ended up
Yeah,
watching it. So I thought we could discuss that for a little while.
yeah.
Uh, I think we should do spoilers because
How about
that one that one particular thing.
okay? I think we should add timestamp so if people want to avoid the spoilers, uh, they have that handy.
Okay, so before we get into spoilers, what did you think about it in general?
In general, okay. I'm actually also writing a review on it. Surprise, surprise. And I was not as happy as I thought I'd be at the end of it. Um, it has some bright spots, but overall, I was disappointed. I'm sad to say.
Hmm.
Um, if you've ever played the games, if you're familiar with the world, the well, the general art from the world, the feeling you get from the world with the music, the gameplay, the characters, and all those moments combined, and then you compare that with what you get in the movie, and it just pales in comparison.
It's kind of like a streamlined version of the game in some respects.
Yeah, I'd say
Like,
too streamlined because the games could last you somewhere between 30 and 50 hours, I think. And this was just an hour and a half.
yeah, I found it entertaining, but like, did you notice like, so it had like Ghibli style animation, but did not have the same level of polish, I felt.
No, you can definitely see that in the CG monsters they used in some of the battles. Um, j-
And then there was a one particular scene with the princess was kind of like she was talking to Yusuke and she was in the back and she looked kind of weird, like low
well,
quality.
that does tend to happen in scenes where you kind of zoom out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm guessing with the way the whole plot felt so rushed, where the production didn't feel up to snuff
Yeah.
in comparison to other movies, I'm guessing they did not have enough time to finish this or enough budget to finish this as they would have liked.
Yeah.
Because you can just tell, uh, you can just tell that there could have been so much more done. Um, they had such a interesting premise, and they could have gone so many
Yeah.
different directions with the characters that are in the story, but they ended up playing it more safe than whatever you guess it ended up being.
Because like by the end, I was like, oh, okay, I probably should have expected that to happen.
No, it's something I also talk about in my review. The characters don't really grow beyond their archetypes. It's like
Yeah.
you have someone who is headstrong, you have someone who is honorable, you have someone who is wise, and you have the villain, and it's just that. I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of the villain, um, a lot of stuff gets revealed about him near the end. I'd say a bit too much stuff, and way too quickly. Not all of it makes sense, but it gets revealed what his evil plan is and why he's doing what he's doing. But you never get the sense that he's a character in his own right, just bad guy spouting bad guy lines.
And then I was kind of confused. I think we're gonna get into a spoiler territory now.
Well, we
So,
spoiled a lot by
um,
now.
oh yeah. So so yeah, the bad guy. I forgot his name, but uh, Garugamesh or whatever his one form's name was. He had like three different forms or
Yeah.
something, and but I'm like, wait, but two of those were in the same room at once at one point. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Oh,
I guess you could excuse like magic,
sure,
whatever,
but
but
it's not explained, and you're left to think, wait, so he can split himself up in two people at the same time, but one of them dies and he's still whole. How does that work when he is from the other world? He's not like, well, the basic conceit of the Ni No Kuni universe is that you have our world and you have the other world. Um,
yeah, Ni
yeah,
No
Ni No
Kuni,
Kuni.
because that's literally the translation.
Okay, and the other world has a doppelganger of yourself, and your life is connected to the doppelganger's life. So if something good happens with you, something good will happen to your doppelganger, and if something bad happens, you have the same result. So the bad guy has two versions or three versions of himself, and in some scenes you have two versions of him in the same area, but that doesn't make sense when one of those versions dies. And it's like, it's not like he's doing a shadow clone jutsu. So it doesn't really,
Yeah, because he would have used that in the
yeah.
fight.
So it doesn't really, uh, it doesn't really hold up to scrutiny when you really tear it apart.
Yeah, I mean, I did like the two main characters. Like besides the fact that they stuck to their archetypes,
Hmm.
uh, but I did find them like rather likable at least for the most part.
Um, yeah, they are likable, but what bothered me was, um, well, they weren't really given much to do, beyond just fighting each other, and not even
Yeah.
interesting fights. Uh, really silly teenage. Yeah, well, I guess they are teenagers, so.
Love triangle.
Yeah, it wasn't even that
The,
interesting, or they didn't really resolve any of the anxieties they had. It's just, I don't know. It felt like they had to serve the plot, and not like they had. Not
Yeah.
like they were serving the characters.
Like, as soon as. Well, okay, this is really. I mean, we're already heavy into spoilers, but like, so. Another thing was like, when it first showed the old man, I looked at his hair and his facial structure, and I was like, wait a
I
minute.
knew it. I knew it
No.
immediately.
I mean, I was thinking, but I was like, well, the other ones weren't connected, so why would this one? And then once he, like, at the end when he had the clothes, I was like, oh, obviously.
Well, I guess it's safe to say who the old man is.
Yeah, so Oliver is in
Yeah.
this movie, which means in the timeline, if you actually care about the Ni No Kuni timeline at all, it it takes place between the two games,
Um,
somewhere, because the second game is 100 years after the first around.
that's probably true. Because let's just say Oliver was about 8 in the first game. And that takes place in what looks like a pastiche of the 1950s in America. And we're like
Yeah,
between 60 and 70 years in the future, so he'd be pushing 80 something.
yeah.
Um,
Which is weird because I forget, like the beginning of Ni No Kuni 2, you can't really tell what time our Earth is at that much. There's
um,
not enough.
well, the president was driving around in a limousine in the opening, so I'm
Yeah,
guessing semi-modern times, like somewhere between 80s, early 2000s.
yeah. But it would have to be after. It would have to be set after this movie, if if the time between the two worlds still works the same
Yeah,
way
that's
by that
true.
point.
So, maybe 50 years here is 100 years in the other world. So, we don't really know. I'm, I guess
Yeah.
we'll have to ask level 5 for clarification.
Yeah, let me go ask CEO Akihiro Hino real quick.
Well, I mean, they have a PR person. We could just get in touch with the PR person.
Oh, that's true. Uh, anyways, like, I found it entertaining, but unless you're just like a really big fan of the game and the
Hmm.
world, you can. It's probably better to just play the games.
Yeah, that's the end of my review too, where I say, you know what, if you really want to experience this world, there are two perfectly fine games you could sink your teeth into. Just avoid this movie. Um,
I would say avoid it. It's not terrible
it's
or
not terrible,
anything.
but it just feels like a waste of time to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah, I can
even
see
if
that.
you want Ghibli adjacent movies, you could do much better than this one.
Yeah, you're gonna be disappointed by some of the
Uh,
animation, because I was like, this doesn't even look as good as like a Studio Ponok. Like Mary and the Witch's Flowers got this so
yeah,
beat.
but that's because a lot of the staff also worked on Ghibli movies, so
Yeah,
there was some pretty good crossover there. This one is done by OLM Inc., who handles
yeah.
the Pokemon anime and a lot of Level 5 anime. So uh, I'm guessing
Which their quality
I'm
varies.
guessing they were stretched too thin between all the shows they were doing and this movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I I wonder if it was supposed to be like more of a TV special type thing, and then decided to have a theatrical release instead,
If if I
or
had my way, I would turn this into a show of like 13 episodes.
yeah,
That way you have enough time, enough room to tell the story properly and let the characters
yeah,
grow.
you can
Yeah.
expand it.
But as it stands, this 1.5 hours is not enough of a. It's not worthwhile as an experience.
And then with like the Oliver thing, if I'd put in a series, I would like I would still have the like, oh, this old man told me about the other world, but I wouldn't show him until that end part.
Yeah, I wasn't really bothered by that. What bothered me was
No, I wasn't either. I'm
What
just saying.
bothered me was like, oh, an old man once told me about the other world. Like, huh? Why is there like so? Why is there so much exposition when it could have been told much better and much more smoothly? And um, another thing bothered me, like the reveal that you, the main character, or one of the main characters, is actually from the other world originally, and you're left thinking, okay, how does this make sense? How, why did he come to this world? What what caused his journey from one world to the other? How did he end up in a crashed plane? Like, uh,
Something about, I would guess it's something about whoever his counterpart was.
well, his counterpart was the other main character.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
so that
I didn't pick up on. Okay, I was like half paying attention at that point.
well, it was near the end, so you probably wanted to get it over it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. And also, didn't Oliver said he was from the other world when he's not?
Uh, yeah, he's not from the other world. Um, which is also strange because I thought when Oliver passed down the power to you, um, I thought it entailed that he did that because they're both from our world. But if he's from, I don't know, it just hurts my brain to think about it.
Oh, thank you, Anime News Network. Did you watch it subbed or dubbed?
I watched it subbed.
Okay, so I watched it dubbed, and you know how, the games usually use like a certain set of voice actors who aren't necessarily big names. So I was watching it dubbed, and I noticed, I'm like, wait, why do all of these voices sound familiar? And this movie uses a lot of people who like are like voice actors from dubbed anime over here, rather than the usual pool of actors they use. Like you got like Max Middleman, Erica Lindbeck, Kyle McCarley, Patrick Sates, Ray Chase, Robbie Damon,
Like,
Erica Mendez, Greg.
it's all of the good ones from the new class of voice actors.
Greg Chun, Kirk Thornton, Kyle LeBay. Wow. Spike Spencer. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah, so the dub cast, I really liked who they picked. It's too bad it wasn't a better movie.
It just felt like a waste of time.
Look, if they made a Ni No Kuni 3 and it was like this story expanded, I'd play it.
Oh, the other main character is called Haru. So it's you and Haru.
Haru, yeah, you and Haru. Which is really confusing in the dub, because when they say you and then somebody else says you, but they don't mean his name, they mean like you over there. And it's like his full name is Yusuke.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Cause when he's at the hospital, he says like, "Oh, it's me, Yusuke Ni No
Oh
Kuni."
yeah, that's true. And the other one's Haruto, so it's Yusuke and Haruto. So I guess that's a lot better than what we're doing.
Wait, do they credit? I'm trying to see if they credit him as
Who?
that. Oh no, they don't say Oliver. They just say old man.
Yeah, I'm guessing they want to keep it a surprise for people who tend to.
John Demita, never heard of him. Oh, he's Neji's dad
I
in
guess.
Naruto. That's like the most thing. Seijima in Eye of the Somnium Files. Those are like the biggest things on. Oh no, that's Final Fantasy X, not 12.
Well, I don't really listen a lot to dub anime so I wouldn't know all of the actors.
Yeah, I was just like wondering who they got since, well, they obviously couldn't get the last person was like a a kid when he recorded, and then I don't think he'd be able to do an old man voice right like yet. Even though it's been a few years, I think it would be like it would sound like a bad impression of an old man rather than this guy who sounded
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. But yeah, I just like watching dubs when the option is available because I like voice acting, and I still think people give dubs like too many people gives dubs a bad rap when they're actually pretty good these days
Uh,
for the most part.
yeah, like uh, voice actors or voice acting on its own is a craft that takes up a lot of time and skill, and it is acting when you're voice acting. So yeah, you can't
Yeah,
really say like, oh no, it's just using your voice to sound funny. It's like no, it's really proper acting because you have to convey feelings, thoughts, and all that good stuff. Uh,
yeah. Don't if you ever watch the Ultraman next Netflix
mhm,
series, um, I mean I know you'd probably watch the sub anyways, but the
mhm,
dub is just because the dub has a lot of good voice actors, Steve Bloom, Christina V, some
mhm.
other people, but the main character is voiced by Josh Hutcherson,
Wow.
PETA from the Hunger
Yeah.
Games, and his delivery is awful.
Well, it is also dependent on so many factors. Like, you can't change the mouth flaps, so you're also limited to how much dialogue is already available originally. Uh,
No, I know, but like he's just not. His all his line or like most of his lines fall flat, and it's just so bad.
okay. But I think we're
Uh,
going off on a tangent. But
yeah. Anyways, we'll get to the.
to bring it back to Ni No
anyways,
Kuni, final thoughts?
uh, like I said, it's entertaining, and if you're really into that world, and if you're bored and you want to watch it, and you're already done with the games, might as well. But otherwise, it's just like don't. If you haven't played the games, play the games.
My final thought is Ni No Kuni is on sale on Switch, Steam, PS4. Do it justice and get it there. Ni No Kuni 2 is on sale on PS4 till tomorrow for $20. Get it there. Um, avoid the movie. Um, yeah, that's all.
Okay, so now we're finally getting into the news. So our first piece of news I put on here because I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
interesting, and I don't want to spoil anything for you
Mm-hmm.
because you're probably not this far yet. But so Dragon Quest XI's most popular character overseas is Sylvando.
The flamboyant one.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's also why he's popular because he's flamboyant and memorable.
Yeah. Um, I was reading a thread and they were saying like a lot of people were just like yeah, Sylvando is the best character, like yeah, he's so fun and he has good like development and he just wants to make people happy, and I'm like I like that people like this character so much.
Yeah. Well,
And
um, I'm guessing that's a good thing. Like it.
yeah.
I'm not even sure if this is a spoiler, but well, we'll talk about that off air. I'll put a pin in it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here there's some other highlights. So like from the survey,
Mm-hmm.
the survey was from Famitsu, and also this article is from Siliconera from Alistair Wong. Um, so uh, check all other Dragon Quest titles you have played, and the one with the most votes was Dragon Quest One,
Hmm. Interesting.
and then But then the second most was Dragon Quest 8, and I was like,
That
okay.
makes sense.
And then after that is Dragon Quest 5, which also makes sense. And then after that is Dragon Quest 7 and Dragon Quest 6. So those are the top 5 most played Dragon Quest games. In Japan. In Japan.
8 makes a lot of sense because that's where the series got its resurgence.
I'm surprised 8 wasn't number 1.
Yeah. Well, it is Japan still, so if you did this poll here, you'd probably have the inverse where 8 is the most popular and 1 is probably the one people have the most nostalgia for.
Yeah, and yeah, this is apparently it was contrary to expectations for Dragon Quest 1 coming first. And then Dragon Quest 9 it's not included on here, but they said Dragon Quest 9 came in right after Dragon Quest 6. As like check all elements you have enjoyed in the game, and there are 10 different ones. Characters and story. Character, story, and combat system are the top 3.
Which is surprising to me because, as far as I can tell, the story is pretty straightforward.
I think that's why people like it, though.
Okay, and the same for combat. Like it's the OG RPG, and they haven't really changed it all that much in comparison to Final Fantasy or even Persona. So,
well, the whole thing about Dragon Quest is all about tradition, and that's why they haven't really changed all that much.
I know, but it's still surprising.
That's what they use like the side games for.
The experiment.
Like Dragon Quest Heroes and well, no, Monsters still Monsters changes up some stuff, but not a lot. Anyways, there's from 4 to 10, the exploration, character build, voice of characters, side quests, camping, music, and minigames. I'm guessing voice of characters means more dialogue. Because they don't, traditionally, Dragon Quest games in Japan usually don't have voice acting.
Like, Dragon Quest Definitive Edition is the first time is that the first time it got recorded dialogue? Or did the PS4 version in the West also have recorded dialogue?
The first time we got voice acting?
No, in 11.
That's 11 is the first. Oh no, I think 11S is the first time in Japan it got voice acting.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And then here, Dragon Quest 8 was the first one with voice acting. And then which is your favorite character if you had to choose one? Number 1 is Sylvando. Number 2 is my boy Eric. Number 3 is Jade. Number 4 is Veronica. Now, number 5 is the Luminary, and that's weird because he's a silent protagonist.
I'd probably be the one picking the Luminary too, because my tastes are very basic. Like, if you ask me who's my favorite character in Naruto, it's Naruto, or who's my favorite character in Bleach, it's Ichigo, obviously. So yeah, I don't really veer off into more popular characters.
Some people chose Slime due to them being iconic DQ monsters.
Well, it makes sense. Slime is like the mascot for Dragon Quest.
All right, so my next story, and we're still on Dragon Quest here, and this is also from something that was noticed last week, is Dragon Quest Your Story is actually coming to Netflix on February 13th.
Yeah. A day before Valentine's.
So the day before the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Excuse you.
Yes. How could I ever forget that holiday?
So I'm gonna try to. I might try to finish. Yeah, you know what? I have like a month. I'll try to finish Dragon Quest V before that comes out. Even though there's a lot of differences. No spoilers.
I think, yeah, when we talk about it again, we'll have enough to discuss because I've never played Dragon Quest V, not really at least. So I have
Yeah.
no idea how the story will be impacted by the changes. So I'll be looking forward to seeing it as a movie instead of an adaptation.
Not just that, but the animation is way better than the Ni No Kuni one.
Okay, Ni No Kuni's dead. We killed it.
We killed it.
Let's let it rest.
Okay. And my last piece of Dragon Quest news, which I just found out about today, is that a live stream video from 2016, which was the 30th anniversary of Dragon Quest, they just finished English subtitles on it, and you can watch it on YouTube. I meant to watch it beforehand, but I didn't have time.
Yeah, I'll probably check it tomorrow, but did they announce anything worthwhile in this one, or was it like really a celebration of all things Dragon Quest?
I think it might have been right before they announced 11. Oh yeah, because I see the 11th sword here in this, looking through.
Yeah.
But they were just going through like the history of it, and just a bunch of developers and stuff talking about it. I'll probably watch that later.
Okay, so it's more like a retrospective than anything else.
Yeah.
All right.
So our next story is on brand. Well, not that Dragon Quest wasn't on brand for me, but this is super on brand. So Konami announces monster battle game Solomon program.
I'm guessing that's a good thing, that Konami's back into releasing original titles. Asterisk.
Yeah. So the latest issue of Monthly Koro Koro comic reveals. Oh, this is from Sal Romano and Kamatsu. The latest issue of Monthly Koro Koro comic reveals Solomon Program, title tentative, a game in which players control and battle monsters with programs. Wait, is this like Mega Man Battle Network?
I say Mega Man Battle Network crossed with Shin Megami Tensei.
Megami Man Battle Network?
Megami Mons.
The monster designs in the magazine, and I don't have a picture, find a picture of it, but are reportedly large in variety and similar in style to Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Digimon. Battles are strategy RPGs. A demo code for the game will be included in Mirakoro Comic version 2, a special issue due out. Oh, today?
Yeah, but
yeah, pretty much.
It's
today.
not applicable to us unless you have the Japanese eShop.
Yeah. Yeah. Can somebody give me a code for that? Thanks. And then like so they didn't include what systems it would be on. And so a following article, also from Gamatsu by Sal Romano, says it will be on Switch.
Which is good, I guess.
Additional details about the game are still a mystery, but there is going to be a special manga that shows a monster that looks pretty Shin Megami Tensei-ish to me. So I'm curious to see more about that and whether it'll get localized or not. Oh, there's also a box cover too.
If I had to be a betting man, I'd bet it would not come to the West. Because I don't know, we're pretty much full up on monster games. At least that's the sentiment I see floating around. We already have Pokemon, we have Digimon, Yokai Watch is barely hanging on as it is. So I don't know if we have room enough for this. You probably disagree with that, but
you never know. Yeah. Okay, look, Moko Moko Friends got published and nobody played that. So.
Okay, they're just hedging all their bets on monster games. Like, okay, this is all we got.
Yeah. All right. So next story. So this is interesting. Tencent Nintendo Switch games will not work on international Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
Switches. Um, so physical game cards released for the Tencent Nintendo Switch, in
Yeah,
China, won't be playable on global Nintendo Switch.
that's what I
Okay.
was thinking when I read the headline, like 10 cent. Oh, that's why.
Uh,
It's like it's
this is from again from Alistair Wong, Siliconera, but the source was Daniel Ahmad on
yeah.
Twitter.
Well,
Um,
Nintendo with 10 cent, they're trying to make a really big push for the Chinese video game market because it's notably difficult to bring out a console and bringing out games in that specific area. Uh,
yeah.
so I'm guessing some exclusivity will help drive business towards them.
Oh, the Tencent Nintendo Switch will be able to play global game cards, but only offline.
Yeah. So the only downside is we won't be able to play these games, but they will be able to play our games.
Each game box will have a Tencent imported logo on the bottom left. Okay, that's
I mean, I don't think we
so.
have anything to worry about, um, unless
No, I just thought it was an interesting piece of
yeah,
news.
unless they say like Bayonetta 3 exclusive for China. That's when we'd be up in arms, or like uh, Animal Crossing is cancelled. Now there will only be a 10 cent imported China version. So bye. I don't think that's gonna happen.
There would be
Yeah,
riots. There would be riots.
yeah.
You think Animal Crossing fans are peaceful? No.
Oh,
And
I know, I know. I've seen my Twitter timeline.
I am
Yeah,
one, so I can say that. Um, all right. I can let you take this next news story since you're more interested in in this game than
yeah.
I am.
It's Dragon Ball, man. Uh,
And it's from our buddy Joseph Yaden over at PlayStation
yeah.
Lifestyle.
Hi, Joseph. Shout out to all the good work you do. The headline reads Dragon Ball Z Kakarot gets day one update, and that would be to fix load times and other quality of life enhancements. It's about 11 gigs on the PlayStation 4, and yeah, it adds a few stuff that is probably sorely needed when you start the game. Like
Yeah.
loading times for sure. Instant travel between the core and tower and capsule core on the world map. Sub stories are added. Uh, yeah, and other various adjustments, which is a good thing, and it's to be expected with modern gaming. Um, Day one patches are just a way of life now. You can't get around it.
Yeah, what's unfortunate is that Bandai Namco is known for sending out codes for their big games
Hmm.
way too soon to release. So a lot of the reviews right now are just reviews in progress because people got the codes only a few days ago.
Yeah, I mean, the core game won't be affected all that much. I'm guessing. So this patch would not sway the opinion in one way or the other too much. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most likely. Um, it's just kind of interesting that like Bandai Namco always does this, and it's like, come on, man, this might be one of your biggest games ever, and you're gonna do
The,
this. But
I mean, they have to hit that fiscal deadline to be profitable. So I'm guessing Vim and many other developers or publishers aren't too worried about polish all that much if it
yeah,
is in the name of making more profit. Not saying that is
yeah.
too much of a bad thing, but yeah, yeah,
I mean, I'm not surprised with the whole review code thing because I remember talking to Peter Brown from GameSpot when I first met him, and he said he had to play and review Ni No Kuni 2 in about 3 days.
That is insane.
Yeah. So I don't know. That anyways, you're definitely getting that one?
Look, I have so much to play. Final Fantasy 12 is not a tiny game. Uh, I
Okay.
might, or I just might wait for the
You
sale.
plan on
I
getting it.
do plan on getting it because it's Dragon Ball and it's Cyber Connect and it's an action RPG, it's like all that good stuff. It,
Honestly, the combat looked a lot like Xenoverse to me, so I was just like, you know what? I probably don't need that one. It just looks so similar that I'm like, really?
um, yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be familiar to people who have played these kinds of games, and Dragon Ball is either a fighting game or a action RPG, so there's only so much, so in so many directions you can go with this.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Uh, so that comes out on January 17th. Probably comes out at midnight tonight, I'm guessing. Um, and then so go get that if you're a big DBZ fan. There are live streams and videos popping up everywhere, so you have plenty of ways to check it out. Uh, so next news story comes again from Alistair Wong over at Siliconera. Is Pokemon Masters' next sync pair will be Ethan and Cyndaquil from Cyndaquil, sorry, from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So I don't play Pokemon Masters, but I included this because this character is related to the best Pokemon games and my favorite Pokemon.
Um, I
Um,
have no real context for this beyond a few days that I've played this game, so I'm guessing by your enthusiasm that it's a good thing.
yes, because Generation 2 is the best generation, and the Generation 4 remakes of Generation 2 are the best Pokemon games ever made. No contest. Um, don't at me, bro. Um, so Ethan, the male protagonist of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, who's also just like a... He's basically Gold from Gold and Silver, but he has a name and a bit of a redesign. Um, alongside his starter Pokemon Cyndaquil, and you can have him with Cyndaquil, Quilava, or Typhlosion, who all have the special move called Stoke the Fire. Their sync move called Stoke the Fire. Pair will perform especially well when weather is sunny. No exact date has been announced yet, but it'll likely be in a few days.
Are you still playing it?
I haven't played it.
Never,
I,
never
I,
have you?
I was saying no. I haven't played Pokemon Masters, but I like when we get representation of cool
Oh
characters
wow.
and and my favorite Pokemon.
Oh, so you're that guy.
Yeah, yeah, I am
Well,
that
I
guy.
played it.
Actually, I should see if it works on my phone.
Which phone do you have?
Uh, LG Phoenix something something. It's an Android and it's modern. And Pokemon Go runs on it. This should run on
Oh,
it.
I hope so, because it was struggling on my phone, and I have a LG G6.
Oh,
Well, it is
oh,
about 3 years old now, so it makes sense.
yeah. This one is pretty new. Anyways, I just so what do you think about the game?
I like it. It's pretty light, um, but this, in conjunction with Pokemon Go, is pretty much the ideal experience on mobile. Um, no complaints here. I just
All right.
I just wish my
Um,
phone could run it better.
yeah. Isn't that
Yeah,
always the
yeah.
case? All right. So next story is another Pokemon one, and I like this because of So, real-world inspirations for Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass locations revealed. I love when they do stuff like... Oh, this is by Jenny Latta over at Siliconera again. And also, if you're wondering why we have so many stories from Siliconera and Gamatsu, those are pretty much the best sources for Japanese game news.
That is true. Every now and then you'll see a headline pop up from NM News Network. But yeah, we tend to stick to these two.
So the regions in Pokemon games tend to be inspired by real-world places, Galar's roots in the United Kingdoms. So, basically, the Isle of Armor was inspired by the Isle of Man, which is an island in the Irish Sea directly between Northern Ireland and England. they they forgot to. They need to edit this because it says an island in the Irish Sea that is directly between Northern Ireland and the England.
Well, it happens, man.
I mean, it's a small thing. It's
It
a small thing.
happens.
I just thought it was. I just saying the England. I was just like, yes. I'm sure they'll find it. Anyways, due to its history, Gaelic, Norwegian, and Scottish cultural influences can be found there. In the game, it'll be where you get Galarian Slowbro evolutionary item, and it's also where Kubfu is given to players by Dojo Master Mustard, and then, Scotland was the inspiration for, what was the other one called? The Crown Tundra. Yeah. And that's where you get the item to turn Galarian Slowpoke into Galarian Slowking. Yeah. Also makes you an exploration team member, exploring an uncharted and frosty area with new creatures like the legendary Calyrex. So I just thought that was an interesting tidbit, because I remember when Pokemon Heroes came out, I think, I watched something about it being inspired, like the town in it being inspired by Venice, and I just thought that was super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, all of the mainline games have been inspired by real life locations. Like the original games are more or less Japan. Sun and Moon.
Well, three generations.
Sun and Moon is Hawaii. I think X and Y is based on Europe, like France. And Sword and Shield with the expansion passes inspired by the United Kingdoms and Scotland. Scotland, Ireland, and the other British Isles.
Yeah, so I always think it's just interesting to learn about that and see like what architecture and specific things the developers were inspired by. Alright, next story, because that's enough Pokemon. And this is a big one. People have been talking about this all week. So Sony this comes from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Sony to skip E3 2020 will attend hundreds of consumer events instead. PlayStation pulls out of E3 for the second year in a row. So they feel like the vision for the event isn't right for what they have planned, but they'll be at a bunch of other stuff. There are rumors that the PlayStation 5 reveal event will be next month at some time, but we have no official confirmation of that.
I'd say pay attention closer to E3, either before or after, and Sony will then probably announce more details about the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Some people, it's interesting, because some people are like, well, yeah, E3 is kind of going downhill, so that makes sense, but other people are like, no, why would they skip E3 when they have a new console to show? But then there's the whole thing about streaming video, and how that's easier to get your message across.
It's also a lot cheaper from a production standpoint.
Yeah, that too.
Because you don't have to pay for the show space, you don't have to pay for crew, for any of the extra stuff. Just set up a live streamed video that's like half an hour or an hour, and you have your message focused, and you come across as direct and as well
Yeah.
as good as possible with your words.
So we'll see what happens with that. It's not like E3 is completely over. We still have Xbox, Nintendo, probably Bethesda and Ubisoft.
Well, it'd be interesting to see what announcements will flow out of this. I mean, Microsoft is still
Yeah.
kind of a part of it. Um,
Yeah.
and if PlayStation bows out completely without announcing anything around this time, then I think Microsoft will have a lot of mind share going into the next generation.
Yeah. I think we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for the return of PSX at some point, personally, because I went to the last one they had, and that was great.
I'm guessing once the next generation gets ramped up, they'll probably do it. I don't think this year, probably next year. But yeah, I can still see them doing it again.
Yeah, that's what like a lot of people were saying. Maybe not this year, but probably next year once the ball gets
Yeah,
rolling.
because you have to imagine it's going to be a lot logistics-wise to bring out the new console around the holidays and coordinate everything around that.
But it was interesting because Greg Miller is kind of funny. He says he doesn't even expect it next year, but he would expect PSX to come back the year after, or at least something similar.
It makes sense. We kind of have this idea that Sony is reverting back to their kind of arrogant ways, but I think they're like shifting a bit internally, or they have shifted internally, and now they're just slowly drip feeding us until they're ready to go all out. Because even with just the logo, PlayStation dominated the news cycle far more than Microsoft did with their full video, like one picture. So you have to imagine the power behind any information that flows out of the mouth of Sony.
Yeah. So that it'll be interesting to see what Sony does in the next year. Speaking of which, because this is currently, well, it's going to be a time Sony exclusive, I believe.
Yeah.
So Final Fantasy VII Remake delayed to April 10th.
Yes, which is unfortunate, but it was to be expected, I think. It's more or less the next proper Final Fantasy. So instead of Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy VII Remake is the focus for Square Enix. Not saying that they're not working on 16, but this is being treated as a full mainline game, and they want to get it right because a lot of the stories prior to last year weren't all that positive. Many people had their doubts, and some people still have their doubts surrounding this game, so they want to have it absolutely right for release.
Yeah, which is fine. It makes March less crammed, and then some April games have been getting delayed too.
Man,
we're not mentioning those because those aren't Japanese games. But
it leaves me with enough room to save up money for this game.
Hey, I'm just happy stuff is getting out of the way of Animal Crossing now.
It also gives me a bit more room to start the original game on PlayStation 4 again, because I got pretty far into that game and I wasn't able to finish it. So I'd like to have that done before this drops, so I can do a comparison on what came before and what we got now.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I played most of it too back on PSP, but since I was on PSP, I don't have access to it anymore, and I don't really feel like buying it again. So I'm just gonna wait until the remake comes out. So yeah, that's all we have about that. But like, you know, what's the Miyamoto quote? You know, a delayed game is eventually good or
A
something.
rushed game is bad. Delayed. Okay, you know what? Let's look it up so we don't flub this. Miyamoto quotes delayed game. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So I think it's good that they get more time to polish it up and stuff. That's fine. I'm still looking forward to it. And that's about it for that. So next story, which is still JRPG stuff, a JRPG that I've always wanted to play but has never had the chance to. This comes from Chris Priestman over at IGN. Skies of Arcadia developer wants to start movement to push for a sequel. So basically what happened is programmer Kenji Haruta, he put a thing on Twitter about an autographed illustration from the Skies of Arcadia artist Itsuki Hoshi, and he said, "Oh wow," he said, "Oh wow, there are really a lot of overseas fans. I'm gonna send this to like somebody. All you gotta do is follow this account and retweet this tweet." But then he replied like, "Oh, I didn't expect so much support for this." Like, and he said, "I believe that this kind of movement expands a lot. If this kind of movement expands a lot, Sega may consider to develop the sequel."
Yeah. So, thoughts?
So I went in and did my own news story on this because it lacked a lot of background of the IGN story. So over on GameSkinny, by one Errol Moss, me,
Surprise.
I added a bit of the. So last year, Kotaku interviewed producer Reiko Kadama, who doesn't think Skies of Arcadia needs a sequel, although she's had interest in making one in the past. She kind of disregarded the question about a port on modern platforms and feels the GameCube version is the director's cut, but she didn't completely deny the possibility either. And not only that, that's a very good interview by. I forgot who it's by. Let me check real quick. It's by Heather Alexandra.
Oh yeah, from Kotaku. She did the interview with the creator, and it was one of her highlights because she's a really big fan of that game.
Yeah. So I looked into the history of all this stuff, and so after the GameCube release of Skies of Arcadia Legends, there was a port plan for PlayStation 2 and PC, but both were canceled. A portable iteration for Game Boy Advance was also considered, but never released. In 2012, the trademark for it was renewed, and an HD port was expected on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, alongside other HD Dreamcast ports like Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, and the Sonic Adventure series, but once again never released. But then there have been characters from Skies of Arcadia making appearances in other Sega games like Valkyria Chronicles and Sonic All-Stars Racing. So it's like Sega hasn't forgotten about this game. I guess we just need to show more interest, and I've been wanting to play this game for a long time because it's about sky pirates, and if you don't know something, I love sky pirates and space pirates. Well, I like regular pirates too.
I'm guessing they don't have enough room in the development pipeline to allocate to a remake or a remaster.
Yeah, I think an HD remaster would be just the good best place to start, because right now the only places you can play the game legally are on Dreamcast with the original version or GameCube with Legends.
Yeah, and Sega already has a big RPG coming out this year in Sakura Wars, so I'm guessing that's why they don't have much room for any other RPGs on their slate this year.
Just Sega, please just put Skies of Arcadia on Switch.
Do
Please.
something.
Please do.
Oh,
Let Nintendo do it. I don't know.
I just looked up Skies of Arcadia Legends on Amazon. $236.
Wow, last time I checked, which was a couple years ago, I could get it for $70.
Yeah, well, this happens with old games on old systems, especially cult,
This is why it needs to be
especially cult favorites. Yeah,
ported.
it really needs a port desperately because no way am I playing or paying more than $60 for an RPG.
Yeah. So hopefully that we get something on this. Something comes from that. So my next story, which I just added today because I thought it was kind of interesting, and it's kind of related to Bubble Bobble.
You really love Bubble Bobble.
And I thought it was just interesting in general, is from Alistair Wong over at Siliconera once again. Toho, is that how you pronounce it?
Toho.
I think so. Toho crosses over with Puzzle Bobble in Taito-developed fan game Toho Spell Bubble. So Taito, they're owned by Square Enix now, but they're the creators of Bubble Bobble and Puzzle Bobble.
Yeah, they also developed a game I loved back on the Super Nintendo days, Sonic Blastman 2. It's a arcade beat 'em up. I don't think many people played it or know of it, but it's a favorite of mine. But yeah, back to Toho Puzzle Bobble. Spell Bubble. Okay, I'm confused. Is this a fan game or is this like?
Yeah. That's what I thought was interesting. I think it must have been a fan game that they decided to officially license. And I like Puzzle Bobble, mostly because I can't get Bubble Bobble on Switch yet. But, and then Toho just has a big fan community and a ton of fan games. Like, there's one, oh, I forgot the name of it. Was it Toho.exe? No, not Toho.exe. Something.exe, which is basically Toho characters, but it's Mega Man Battle Network. And like it's a refined Mega Man Battle Network, so I think the combat's a bit better apparently. And you can download that one for free on PC. But yeah, they're gonna have this Puzzle Bobble. They have Zuntata, the Taito's famous sound team, is arranging music and composing for the title. Has the usual Bubble Bobble gameplay. But I believe there's also, like, rhythm stuff added. At least I remember reading about that. Characters being able to use their spells. Famous illustrators lending their talents to many fan favorite Toho characters. Each character is fully voiced. So that's... You know, that's interesting that... Oh, okay. Toho Project creator Zune used to work at Taito before leaving to focus on Toho Project. Now Taito is contributing to their employees' creation with this fan game.
So it's like time is a flat circle and it's a small world after all.
Yeah. So that I just thought that was, you know, as a Bobble fan, Puzzle and Bubble, I thought that was pretty cool. So next story, which is one of the biggest stories of the day, It's from Saruman over at Komatsu, is Super Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC character,
The
Byleth from Fire Emblem.
fifth one in the first fighter pass.
3 Houses. Yeah. And a lot of people were really disappointed by that.
Yeah, because they have like what, 7 Fire Emblem characters now? They have Roy, Marth.
8.
Oh, 8.
Oh, 8
Yeah,
now.
that's a lot. Like, it's in comparison to all the other franchises that are represented in Smash, a bit too much. But then again, they have DLC coming out, and it's pretty good synergy to have Byleth then be the next DLC fighter in Smash.
And Sakurai is a huge Fire Emblem fan, but my question is, why haven't they just made a Fire Emblem fighting game in general?
I mean, that's not a bad idea. That's definitely not a bad idea. But yeah,
Like,
it's disappointing, sure, but you're getting 6 new characters in the next fighter pass, so fingers
Yeah.
crossed, and none of them are Fire Emblem characters. Because who's left? Who is he willing to add now? Like Tiki? Who else?
Claude, Edelgard, and Dimitri.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I doubt that. I seriously doubt that.
What the heck is his name? I forgot it.
Which
I was gonna say a random character from the Yellow Monkeys. The big, or not the Yellow Monkeys, the Golden Deer, not Yellow.
Yellow Monkeys.
Yellow Monkeys. Damn. that's the faction, the other hidden
Yeah, the
faction.
5th one.
That's the next
Yeah.
news story. But like, also announced Mii fighter costumes inspired by Cuphead, which basically, so as you don't see the Mii's face, they basically put Cuphead as a playable fighter,
Yeah.
to be honest. Rabbids, Altair from Assassin's Creed, Mega Man X, and Mega Man Battle Networks. I did not see those ones.
Did you watch the full video?
No, because I wasn't going to get up at 6 a.m. for a game I don't really play.
Oh yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah, so that, I'm okay with Byleth. I haven't finished 3 Houses yet, but I enjoy 3 Houses, so I'm like, you know what, whatever. If Sakurai is a big Fire Emblem fan, good for him. And then,
Yeah, I'm not too bothered by this at all. Violet is a cool character. It's another cool character being added to Smash. Did I wish it was Sora or Dante or Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes? Sure, but here's hoping for the future.
Yeah. So next piece of news is Fire Emblem 3 Houses DLC side story Cindered Shadows launches February 13th. So apparently there is a secret 4th house that lives underground, which what?
So they're like basically the Ninja Turtles of the Fire Emblem universe.
Now I just want them to like come out and be like, "What's up, dude?" Like just talk like Michelangelo. Yeah. They all talk like that. Secret Force House, the Ashen Wolves. I haven't finished the base game yet because it's pretty long, but I'm excited that it's getting like a DLC thing that's that big. They're like, oh yeah, also there's more characters.
Yeah. Like 4 characters or more? Because I only saw 4 in the trailer.
But I have nothing else to really say about it.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Um, Now they're just making an extremely long game even longer. So I don't know who else is gonna have time to finish this, considering all the games coming out this year. But glad to see Three Houses is still trucking along.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of people's game of the year for 2019.
Yeah,
So I'm not
it
that
was
surprised.
also my game of the year. 20.
That people are. Uh, yeah. So my next story, and since I'm not a fan of this game, really, I can let you take this
Okay.
one.
Silicon Era reports that Neo 2 enters the final stages of development, and more info is coming weekly. It's a story by Sato, um, which is originally from 4Gamer, but I digress. Neo 2 director Fumihiko Yasuda updated fans on the development of the upcoming action game, with Neo 2 releasing in a couple of months. Yasuda says we'll have more new info coming next week. As a matter of fact, he wants to share weekly updates on Neo 2 before its release in March. Asked for what kind of info he'll share, he says to look forward to it. Which, okay, cool. I'm guessing DLC characters like Otogi. No, Otogi's from Software. I'm thinking about Ryu Hayabusa. I mean, Otogi would be cool. Ryu Hayabusa would probably make more sense.
That'd be
Yeah,
sick.
I mean, the guy can dream. And
Yeah.
Otogi was also a demon slaying action game, so fingers crossed? Maybe? I'm speaking it into existence, Team Ninja. Make it happen. Neo 2 releases for PlayStation 4 on March 13th, 2020. So coming soon. And I'm guessing from your enthusiasm, you're not getting this game for yourself.
Yeah. Again, I'm not a fan of like those types of games that much, but I'm glad people are excited for it and that they have more room now with these delays. So that's all good. So I don't know, this next news story is the last one, and forgive me because I don't know a lot about this series, except for I played the most recent game, and this is, I guess, a big deal.
Yeah.
So this is from Silicon Era by Alistair Wong again. So Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition shows off instant style switching to Royal Guard and Trickster.
So this is a big deal because in the original version of this game, you could only switch your style at the beginning of a mission. So once you choose Royal Guard or Trickster, for example, you're stuck with that choice through the remainder of the mission.
Oh.
And it wasn't until Devil May Cry 4 where you could instantly switch between styles. So this being added to DMC3 for Switch is a pretty big deal, and I'm imagining some major rebalancing and overhauls went under the hood to make this possible. And it's a good thing, and it's pretty cool to see so much love given to an older game for Switch, because we tend to get like dumped, or they dump the older games as is in as in the case with Resident Evil on Switch. And it's like, okay, this is a good thing. This is something we could all enjoy. Old fans, new fans, and yeah, I might get it now because I wasn't looking forward to this on Switch, but this has enticed me.
I've only played 5, but I really liked 5, and now that I know how this works, I'm thinking about it too.
Well, 3 used to be the fan favorite or the best one. Um, and I think that crown has been passed on to 5 now. So I'm guessing you'll find enough to love in this one.
5 is just so full of what I call tokusatsu bullcrap.
Yeah, it's pretty uneven.
And it also helps because 2 former Power Rangers voiced the main characters.
Yeah. Which was a pretty big surprise because they have been doing it since DMC 3 and 4. Like Johnny Bosch Young is the voice actor.
Johnny Young Bosch?
He changes it from project to project, so I'm not too bothered by it.
Are you sure? I usually see him referred to as Johnny Young Bosch.
He changes it sometimes, or he changed it in the past to this. So, okay, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name or not pronouncing it correctly. So, yeah, he's been doing the main character Nero for, I'm guessing, 10 plus years, ever since DMC4. And the other one,
Daniel
yeah,
Southworth.
he does the voice of Virgil, right?
Yeah. And then the voice of Dante, he was in Power Rangers as a couple of monsters, but he was never a Power Ranger himself. It's just funny because they get these voice actors, but they also get them to do the motion capture. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, this is definitely like tokusatsu type stuff, especially the last, the last scene, or not the last scene, but the scene. And yes, this is spoilers, but come on, if you haven't played this by now, so you know the part where Nero's like, I'm not gonna let you die, and he's running up the mountain, and he's like. You know what I'm talking about? No, I have no
idea what you're talking about, but go on.
You played the game,
played
right?
Some of it, but I haven't finished it.
Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
It's fine.
Okay, so he's running up like the mountain to stop Dante and Virgil from fighting because he just found out that Virgil is his dad, and so they're both about to go out in demon form. He runs up the hill. His robot arm turns into like
a human arm.
Yeah, it grows back, and then he goes into his demon form, and it's like powerful enough to cancel out both of their demon forms when he goes between them. And I'm like, this is a tokusatsu transformation. You can't I
get it.
I'm like, this is such a.
I get it. I've seen enough Power Rangers to get it. But yeah, actually, I knew about Virgil being Nero's father a long time ago. It was.
No, it's not that spoiler. It's a spoiler more for the scene itself.
I've seen a bit about it on YouTube, so it's fine.
That scene is actually in my stream, my pre-roll for my live streams that I plan on doing more.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it. It is in your live stream.
Oh, okay. Probably. Anyways, yeah, so that was our last news story. So our main topic, and I thought it was a good thing to I don't know how long this will be, because I just put it as one thing. Like, our main topic is delays, but in that I want to say maybe talk about a delay that we were, when we were younger, because these days we're not as disappointed by delays. I mean, sometimes, but more often than not we're usually not. But when we were younger, what was a delay that we were just like, oh man?
A delay I was disappointed for.
I have one if you need time to think.
I don't have one game related. A delay. I probably have to say Um, was it Justice League or Batman v Superman? I mean, I'm not uh, super enthusiastic about the final product, but I remember the delay just really really bummed me out because I wanted to see how they'd survive against the Marvel movie at the time. I think that was Age of
Whoops.
Ultron. I'm guessing. I'm looking it up. But yeah, I just wanted to see that and experience that. As a fan of comic books, you're pretty much bombarded by DC and Marvel every week. So this would have been a fun experience, but I digress.
Um, if like, okay, I'll do my game ones, and if you can think of a game
Mm,
one, I'll let you do that one too. But as a Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3
mm-hmm.
fan, I, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 just kept not having a date, and then it finally
Mm.
had a date, and we're like, oh, hey, technically it never got delayed, because this is the first time it has a date. Um, but Final Fantasy 15, what was it? Like a delay of like a month or two?
Yeah, a few months.
So I was a little disappointed by
Mm-hmm.
that, but not a ton. And I don't know. Delays don't. I mean, I'm a little
I
disappointed by
wasn't
the
too
Cyberpunk
bummed
delay
out
because
about
it's
that
all
one,
the way in September.
because
But I mean,
I
hey, if
figured
we get a better product out of it, so
it's
be it.
probably just polish, and I've waited 10 plus years for Final Fantasy 15 to come out, or Versus 13 to come out. What's another few months? And continue.
Um. Oh wow, my connection's way better now. Of course. Um. So what was I? I kept
You were talking
going
about
saying
Final
about.
Fantasy 15 being delayed and Kingdom Hearts being delayed.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts were really the big things, and like I said, Cyberpunk. Um, I'm disappointed that it's so much of a
Mm-hmm.
delay, but we'll probably get a way better product out of it, so I'm okay
And
with
I
it.
also retweeted something on my timeline. Um, and it's basically what I've been thinking of the last few months, or ever since we saw a full reveal of Cyberpunk. It's just neon colored Deus Ex. So if you're really hankering for a similar game or this game, just play Deus Ex. In the meantime, you'll be fine. Because Deus Ex.
I mean, I think that's a little reductive,
No,
but
I don't mean to be reductive, but it's a cyberpunk game, and it'll whet your appetite in the meantime. I'm not saying it's going to
yeah.
be the full experience what you're expecting from cyberpunk or from CD Projekt Red, but um, it'll be a worthwhile diversion in the meantime.
Plus, you can also play if you like Souls game and a kind of cyberpunkish aesthetic. You can play like The Surge too.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you have enough room to spend on other titles or movies or books. Like, I mean, you have time to use. Spend it wisely. There's no sense in complaining about a delay.
Yeah. So our next section would be questions, but we did not get any in
Do
time.
you have any questions for me?
Uh, yeah. Uh, what is the sound of one hand clapping? No, I'm just kidding. um, no. Oh, I was gonna say that for a different podcast
No,
though,
it's fine.
since a lot of Dragon Quest talk, but I could repeat it like in later when we have a guest
Okay.
on. So, oh well, you would kind of need research for that though. So like with Dragon Quest, you have 11S, right?
No, I don't have it. I just played the demo, the one on the
Oh
Switch. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
demo. Um, so I don't know how much you know about the other games, but are there any other like Dragon Quest games you'd be interested in playing?
I'd be interested in playing them all if I had time to play them all. Definitely want to play 8 because 8 is where I was culturally aware of Dragon Quest. I've played 9 on DS a little bit, and I read the manga for Dragon Quest 7, so that also piqued my interest. And I'm aware that 7 and 8 have pretty significant remakes on the 3DS, so yeah, maybe I'll try to hunt them down there. I'm not sure 7 made its way to the West though.
Wait, 7 has a Western release.
On 3DS?
I have it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I don't know. That was just a question. I forgot I had a story to tell actually from yesterday. I think? Or was so I almost got locked out of my PSN account.
How? Why?
I meant to have that story earlier, but so you know that PS4 year in review everybody's been doing. So I wanted to do that, and then it was like, sign into your a Sony account. So I'm like, okay, and then they were like, all right, 2-step verification. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't I changed my number, so I couldn't get the text. So then it's like, well, if you can't get the text, try logging in on another device. But then, you know, it still has 2-step verification with that same old phone number, and I don't have access to that phone number. So then I had to chat with customer support. So I finally get to the chat thing, and the first guy, he says, I explained my situation, and he says, oh yeah, your email and your PSN ID don't match, and I'm like, what? And then I realized my PSN ID I don't think has a capital letter in it. And so the next guy, I explained it to, and explained the thing that happened in the chat, and then I gave him the information, and he got it all set up for me. So I changed my number back, and I'm good.
Okay.
But it was funny because I thought it was just my internet connection at first when I couldn't log into my PS4 online.
But okay, so you managed to see your year in review?
Yeah, I took some screenshots of it. Hold on, I can get it up in a second. But it's weird. It's weirdly skewed because of my day job and because of playing stuff on Switch and that kind of thing.
Understandable.
Let me see here. Oh, it's what? Oh, you know what? It's on my other. It's on my other laptop.
It's fine. We can discuss it next episode.
I mean, it would only take 2 seconds, but yeah, we'll just save it for next time. So this has been the In From Japan podcast. Sorry if there's a bit of overlapping, us talking over each other, but that's because we're on different continents and don't have the best connection.
Yeah, we're trying to make the best of what we have.
But I'll try to make sure it's good enough in post. And if you have any questions for us, questions about our thoughts on Pokemon, further thoughts on Pokemon or Dragon Quest or delays or Final Fantasy, all that good stuff, you can email us at infromjapan@gmail.com or the send our at us at the @infromjapan Twitter, or I'm at Erroll M on Twitter, and
I'm at
what was yours again?
Jason_dar. It has a very geeky explanation, and we really don't have to get into it now.
Alright, so that's all for now, and hopefully we'll have even more cool news next week.
Yeah.
Alright, so
See you soon. 3주またね